All right, so we are in a new week. I believe we're in week 2, so that's awesome. Lots of updates, plenty of changes, updates, new stuff. So ideas that are coming, content that's coming. I guess you can call it that. Really, it's basically systems and stuff that I just want to share. Like I don't want to say pro tips because I'm not a pro, but just tips and tricks for like contest prep or just just in general lifestyle. But a lot of the updates I got to give, one, I find this crazy. And if you see me in a different light, I changed the scenery. Plus, I am now using my camera, not my phone. So I got a tripod stabilizer, which I've been waiting to get, and now I have it. So I'm gonna be able to do longer videos, better quality. I can't promise on the editing. Editing still, that's not my wheelhouse, but we'll see what happens. I'm trying to get better at this stuff. I'm gonna be consistent. I know I've only done 1 video a week so far. I'm gonna try to push 2. It's just been busy because I now have I'm in my phase 1, so I've got my whole map out of what I'm supposed to do on a daily basis, which is awesome. There is no guesswork that I have to do, and I don't do anything extra. I'm told exactly what to do. I have like a time slot of when I do things, so I try my best not to go out of that time slot or try to adhere to the schedule. If I don't, I also have like a plan B, like a contingency plan in case that one doesn't work. Because if anyone knows me or anyone that's watching this, they know my style and they know how I work and operate. I have to have a plan B. A lot of people say, well, if you have plan B, then plan A ain't gonna work. Well, in this game, I have to have all my P's and Q's. Like I have to have everything set. I have to know when I'm gonna do what. It helps me to be a creature of habit. So I do have a backup routine, or if I have to adapt, I plan around that. So I'm a planner. Goal oriented. I have to, make sure that I have my stuff in a row. Otherwise, I get flustered. I'm bent out of shape. So I don't want anxiety setting in or stress setting in. So anyway, last week was awesome. I hit everything that I was supposed to do. Only thing that I did that was out of, I guess you could say the plan was kind of last minute, is I donated blood. Every chance I get, I try to donate blood. I think the next time I go, I'm going to try to hold off and then wait a few weeks and then do the double red blood cell. It's basically where they take that saline solution and it's kind of like an oil change. So I want to do that, make sure that my red blood cell count's in a good range, my iron's in a good range. So, it helps people. But, I like doing it the minute I could do it. And I feel bad when, the company calls me and says, hey, it's time for you to donate. And I just have a problem saying no to that. And I always do it on a rest day because I will not train after donating blood. Some people say it's okay. I don't risk it. I've seen people, I know one person that actually fainted in the gym after he had donated. And I was like, I'm not doing that. So I err on the side of caution. But, one of the things that I have to speak on real quick is I kind of find it crazy that on every prep that I've been on, I've only been on 2 other ones, there's always something that just magically comes up. And what I mean by that is there are people that, this is the new thing. So prior contest prep, I had the same issue. Every time I got on prep, especially when I got deeper onto prep, for some reason or another, all these snacks, these things, fast food, all these things started coming out that are limited edition. And I'm like, why is it now? Like, why is it never when I'm on a bulk or when it's like I'm not training for anything or, even maintenance? None of this stuff comes out. All like this new, Halo Top ice cream is limited edition, or this, candy bar is limited edition, or, I'm a fan of sweets. I like chocolates. Not really much of a candy, I guess you could say like the hard candy or, anything like that. It's chocolates are pastries or stuff like that. So, Oreos is a huge one. Like, I love Oreos, and it just magically, all these limited editions came out last time I was on prep and the time before. Now, to tell you how bad it was, I would buy them so I didn't miss out on them. I'm not doing this time. All I did this time is I ordered what my favorite are, which are PDX cookies. They're massive cookies, and they're at my daughter's house in her freezer. So I can't even see them. They're not here, out of sight, out of mind. And I refuse to get on social media. I refuse to, if I do social media, it's to post like my family, just to appease like all my family members so they can see like, what we're doing. It's easier to do it that way than it is send like 5-6 texts, to different people. So for me, I'm lazy, and I use social media to my advantage where I just post it and then I'm done. I stay off there because if you start looking at food recipes, if you start looking at food, that algorithm learns that and it basically just shoves it in your face. It's like, here, this is what you want. And the last thing I want is cravings, to be tempted. I'm not risking it. So I've been staying off social media. I've been dialed into sports. I've been watching college basketball, a little bit of baseball here and there, but we got the NFL draft coming up. That's the one thing I miss about my old coach, is that we could talk football all day, and we could talk UFC. We could talk about, that's another thing that's been keeping me busy. So that and doing stuff around the house, my energy levels are so high. I don't have downtime. And I'm saving my shows that I have on my watch list for cardio. Because when cardio ramps up and you start getting into, the upper 20 minutes, 30 minutes, these shows come in handy. You just zoom right by them. I can't watch YouTube unless it's like UFC Countdown or something like that. It's motivating. I feel like I've watched every motivational video on YouTube. So that's a dead end for me. And I don't like watching, some people like to watch food stuff when they're on prep. I can't, I'm not a fan of that. So anyway, everything's been going great. One of the things I noticed on this prep so far, and I have a feeling this is going to be an ongoing thing or a theme, is that people are inviting me and the wife everywhere and anywhere. It's like, hey, do you want to go get drinks? Do you want to go out and get dinner? And it's like people that never ask. So I'm like, am I being sabotaged here? Like, are people intentionally trying to like get at me? It's crazy. So anyway, hold on real quick. Sorry about that. I may not edit that out. My editing skills suck at this, so we'll see. But yeah, my energy levels have been so good. Like, I'm getting stuff done around the house, which is awesome. If I say I'm gonna do something or I put it on my to-do list, it gets whacked. It's done. One thing I want to talk about though, that makes me feel bad about how I'm going about this prep versus others. My last prep, and I didn't tell my coach this because I didn't know how he'd react, and I didn't think it was within the confines of prep, but on my last prep, and I'm sorry for the guys that see this, that they think it's referencing them. It probably is, but I'm not going to drop names. So last prep that I was on, I was working here at home, like alone. I work from home, so I was here all by myself. It's just me and the dog. My wife is now retired, so she's here. So I do a lot of talking with her. We do a lot of conversating, so that helps. But my outlet, during prep, after I got done with my checklist or what I had to do, fasted cardio walks or, regular cardio, meal prep, I would make phone calls. And a lot of the times I got phone calls because they knew I was here by myself. But I had 3 different buddies of mine going through divorces, and I helped out with all of them. And I know this sounds horrible, but it's very taxing to hear some of this stuff. And I wanted to be there, and I was there for all of them. Even helping them move, which I probably shouldn't have been doing on a contest prep because of injury and stuff like that. It's very selfish, very selfish. Like, people don't understand that. I try to explain it to some people and they're like, no, your wife's just telling you it's selfish. No, dude, it is selfish. This is a selfish sport. I don't even want to think it's an opinion. I mean, most people will say that. But what I did is, a lot of it got draining. it got draining because it got to the point where I was trying to give these guys advice, and apparently not bragging or boasting or trying to be conceited, but you know, I've learned that I have friends that look up to me. They look up to my situation. They look up to my family. It's not all sunshine and rainbows here. There's arguments. You know, we know how to communicate. We work together as a team. I prayed for my wife. You know what I mean? I asked for this. I asked for someone to be put in front of me because I went through some bad relationships and made some bad choices, and that's all on me. But they look up to me because they see that, you know, I'm living where I'm at. I have, you know, a great job that I love, and you know, I'm going to the gym, keeping healthy, and you know, then competing. So they're like, man, you have the perfect work-life balance. It's not all perfect. You know, I just do my best, and I love what I do, and you know, that's what helps me get through the day, through the weeks. So. You know, a lot of these guys, they were married like 15, 16, 17 years. I mean, long time vested, and that's gone. Because either the wife cheated or something happened, you know, unfortunately, where it just ended. So it was very draining to go through that with them and be on prep. And I probably wasn't the best person to talk to, because as I got deeper into prep, I was mean. I mean, lack of sleep. You're tired, you're fatigued, and you're like irritable. And the last thing that you want to deal with is somebody that doesn't listen to you or take your advice. For me, it was driving me bat. It was bat crazy. I was like, man, I'm telling you that, you know, because I always get asked, what would you do if you were in my shoes? I always get asked that. And I tell them, there'd be no change in my regimen, what I do. Because this, I'm telling you, keeps me sane. I'm not on any prescription SSIs or antidepressants or medication. I take my supplements that I take, and you know, like vitamin D3. I take a multivitamin, milk thistle, you know, a lot of liver and kidney stuff just to be on the safe side, a lot of heart health stuff. So I take what I know is a deficiency in my blood work, which I'll speak right now. If you're going to compete, or right before you compete or do anything drastic like this, you got to get your blood work done. Luckily, I had my blood work done so I could give it to this new coach, and he looked at everything and he was like, wow, you know, this is what we need to do. So there was assessments made based off that being so recent. And I'm going again in 8 weeks to get, you know, whatever, you know, my kidney, liver, I'm going to get that rechecked. So I think I mentioned that in another video, but that's coming up in another 6 weeks. Just to see where we're at. Well, with that being said, and you know, I'll post an update about that. I can even put my results. I have no shame in my game. So, but yeah, like that, I feel so bad about that because, like, you know, and I've had to not block, but I've had to distance myself from this drama, this prep. That's my goal. My goal is my energy is going to go directly to my immediate family, and anything outside of that is not getting attention. So I'm very adamant about that. I'm not going to budge. I've had to send a couple texts that were kind of not very nice in my opinion when I read it, but I mean, it's very direct. And I'm like, look, man, I always say I got to go into monk mode. And what that means is basically it's work, family, prep, and faith. That's it. That's all I'm doing. And so now the only thing that gets my time is work, my family, what I do on prep. And, you know, like, oh, well, you know, your wife's there. That's cool. You talk to her, but what's your outlet? So I had a guy that I know, you know, his son went to our daycare. He also goes to my church. He invited me to a men's group. So now I go to that every Thursday on my rest day. My rest days have not changed. They're still Thursday and Sundays. Which is awesome because that was, you know, the training program has changed slightly, but it's almost the same as my old split. There's just things that are very dialed into certain areas of weaknesses. So, you know, we have that emphasis, and I mean, it's tough. You know, when you do something new, there's always growing pains, and that's what I'm going through. So I'm now in a men's group though, but it's awesome because these guys, they lift. You know what I mean? They're not about competing, but they live the lifestyle. So for me, I can talk gym talk with these guys, and it's awesome. It's a good outlet. I do have friends to talk to about that, but to do this in person and like, we mix in our faith into it. It's just awesome, and I love doing it. I get to plan around it. So they actually planned around my meal time. They're like, hey, we normally meet at this time, but we'll adjust it. What time will work best for you? I gave them a window, and they're like, all right. And it being on a rest day makes it even better. So that's awesome. And that was already on that day. Don't think that, I changed the whole game. I didn't do that. But I mean, everything has been good, but I feel bad about telling people no, like friends, as far as like, cause I know some of these people, they need someone to talk to. And then for me to be selfish like that for these next 4 months is it does make me feel bad. But I mean, I have to be selfish this time around. I've given everything I had to give my last prep. I want to make sure that I give myself, not just to others, but I want to give myself dedicated to my family and me, and that's going to take all of my energy. I don't want to be drained. I always say, if you're not a fountain, you're a drain. And I can't, I got single friends that talk about dating apps and women, and I want to hear you winning. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to hear about women. I want to hear about you winning. Like, what goals do you have to crush? And the other thing that makes me feel bad is I just saw this video the other day, and a lot of these guys that are just newly divorced, 1-2 years in, they're depressed. And the thing that gets me about what scares me about it is, one, I don't want any of them to ever hurt themselves or do something, because they are loved. Whether they have children or not, they're loved. Somebody, I included, love these guys, these people, and I care for them, and I don't want anything bad happening to them. I want them to win. I want them to just do great, be happy. You know what I mean? Be at peace. And I saw this video, and this video was like, depression is not just meaning that you're like sad about something. They say that depression is merely, for men, is that they're lost. They don't feel like they have a purpose. They did, and then something happened, and it caused and triggered a depression. And a lot of people say, well, procrastination is lazy. It's for lazy people. Well, really, procrastination is also just part of depression and being lost. So that hit me, and that's what's hard, to separate myself from people that are going through it, and then I'm going towards a goal that, could or could not work out. I don't know. So it is selfish. It makes me feel horrible, but I don't know what else to do. But I've told my coach, we got invited out, and I didn't want to say no. This couple felt like they owed us, so we tweaked a couple things, got the cheat meal to work, refeed, whatever. And now that I told my coach, I said, this is the last time. He goes, all right. He's like, I don't mind. He goes, but this is what I do with my coach. So my cheat meals are still on, or refeeds are on Saturday. I email him by Friday, and I tell him exactly what I'm craving, what I plan on eating. And to be honest with you, I don't want to go anywhere. I want to make my meals here. I did that on my last prep, and I loved it. I never had to worry about outside influences, a server bringing extra bread or bread at all. Like, it was very structured, very confined, and that's what I like. So, plus, me and the wife got to do like some cheat meals, like actually cooking together, not just like a string of, meal preps that, really don't take anything to make. It's just like a structured assembly line. So, but yeah, I struggle with that. But everything else has been great, awesome. Energy's at a high. I love, the way prep's going so far. There has been nothing that I missed. The only thing I did out of context that was, kind of last minute was donate blood. But other than that, man, life is good. Like, there's no complaints. Training's been awesome. I have not posted on social media other than my family and like meaningless stuff like sports. I don't want to post my physique. I want to stay covered. It's kind of crazy because I I'm at a point in my life where I don't want or need validation unless it's on that stage. That's what matters to me now. Like, I could care less what people think. And Jalen Hurts said it best. I had a purpose before everybody had an opinion. I've had people ask me, why do you post, physique photos and thirst traps and you're married? I hear this. I get these messages. And I'm like, I'm not out here trying to lure women or anybody. I was like, if anything, there's dudes sliding in my DMs. And that I'm not trying to impress anybody. I thought I was doing it to inspire people because they would see my story or where I came from, but that's not the case anymore. They're like, oh man, this guy is okay. We get it. You're going to stick with it. And now you're just shoving it in our face. And that's why I'm distancing myself from social media. You won't see me on there posting physique photos on this whole prep. I'm going to let everyone know that now. Maybe when it gets closer to time, if I'm a day out, but like anything can happen. If I get injured, something happens, somebody gets ill in the family, I don't know. Anything can happen. So for me, I don't like to put the cart before the horse. And I don't need validation. I don't need people to like it. I don't need people to love it. I don't need people to even care about it. I know what I'm doing. It shows my family how to work towards a goal, especially my daughters. Like, that's what I care about. I could care less if somebody, oh man, you look shredded, or, you could look better. Of course I could look better. Everyone can look better. I don't understand why people have to spend those minutes and, spend their time to put out that negative energy and those negative vibes. Like, dude, I get it, man. Like, everyone can be better. The person that's speaking about that person being better could be better. And the way that I look at it is I'm so locked in right now, I could care less what everybody else is doing. I care about what I'm doing and my family. That's it. That's that's 2 full-time jobs. You think I got time to worry about what some such and such did at this? No, I don't care. It has nothing to do with me. I wish them the best. I'm rooting for them, especially if I know them. If I know them, like, man, bro, good luck. I'm praying that you kill it, But I don't have time to be negative anymore. I'm getting too old for that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not a Karen. I'm not gonna sit there and tell you what you did wrong or right. I don't know. I'm not perfect myself. So for me to judge you, who can judge? Only God can judge. That's Tupac, baby. So I just stay away from that stuff, man. I'll drop a sentence here and there, maybe a word, but I'm not gonna just stop what I'm doing and go troll somebody or say something negative, man. It's positive vibes over here only 2025. I mean, that might sound whatever, but I don't have it in me to do this. I don't have it in me to be negative towards anybody. They could be negative towards me, but if I don't allow that, if I don't show them certain things, then I don't have to worry about that. So yeah, I'm not posting any physique photos, just letting everybody know. If I'm 2 weeks out, maybe I can change my mind, but then, I got prep hopefully it hasn't already started. I have prep brain to blame. I'm gonna have to edit that, so I'm gonna have to figure that out. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm in a good place, man. I'm in a good place. Like, the stuff that we're doing, I like where we're headed, and if it stays like this, my goal on this prep, not just to come in my best, but to make it seem like I'm not on prep. That would be the ultimate goal. If no one knew that I was getting show ready, and then I just showed up and I told people 2 weeks out, hey, I'm doing a contest prep. And they're like, really? I didn't even know it. I couldn't even tell, because I'm not irritable. Things like this aren't happening, that's what I want, man. I want people to like not even know. And that's my goal. Like, my boss, my coworkers, they suspected something, and I finally told them. And they're like, yeah, I could tell because you're acting different. And everyone's like, oh, well, there's no way around it. You have to. No, I don't buy that. I don't buy that. I know things can be done better. I know they can be done. You can always do better. That's why when people say, oh, this person could have did this, that, and the other. Sure they can. We all can. Nobody's perfect. I know that. That's about, and if you don't think that, I mean, you got to humble yourself, because anything can happen to you, me, anybody. I don't wish that on anybody, but man, you got to be happy about what that person's doing. Clap for them, you know what I mean? Because it could be something that's very hard. It could be something that they need, to fulfill themselves, to make them feel like just whole. I don't know. Like, I don't have time to hate on people, man. I'm not going to be mean to people. My goal with this prep is for my family to be happy, to have the energy levels high, to where my family doesn't get neglected. I mean, I remember last prep, man, I just got done eating meal 2. We were at the beach. I was like 4 weeks out. I was on the beach with my daughter. She wanted to get up and run around, play tag, chase her, whatever. I couldn't get off that towel. I couldn't get up. I was so beat from everything. And it's crazy because I sit back and I think about, like, man, how did I have the energy to do this stuff? How do you have the energy to train, do cardio, walks? How do you have time and energy to do all that? But yet when my kid needs me, I can't even get up. So that's huge for me. I don't get this time back with them. And I got to make it count. And I know that I have a goal, but I'm still a dad at the end of the day. I'm still a husband at the end of the day, a brother, a son. I got to make sure that the people that love me for me unconditionally, which is, my family. Not all family is built the same. I get that, but I got to be there for them. So, that's huge for me on this prep, and that's what I want. So that's I'm going to push myself to do it. I don't care. Well, other than that, sorry to get on that note, but that's just part of prep and what happens. But man, we got some good stuff coming. Me and my wife been brainstorming about, the day in the life in prep, and like, what, as a master's, like, what do you do as a dad or husband? How do you control certain aspects, working full time? And like, one of the things that she came up with is she loves my system with meal prep. She's bought into it. I trust her to cook my meals now. So she helps me with that. That's huge, because I can trust her to cook my food. And to be honest with you, when my mom gets around and my mom tries to cook, she'll like, I'll do it. And then my wife takes over, and it's funny to watch them go back and forth at it, because they'll be at the stove or something like that. My mom will try to add something like butter, olive oil, and my wife's like, can't do that. That's not allowed. Like, she knows the whole gambit of the food diary of our meal plan. She knows it. And when adjustments are made, the one thing she will not touch is carbs. She doesn't touch the carb prep. I have to do that. But everything else she does. All protein she does. That's her wheelhouse. She does it. She does it to a T. She does it, man, probably better than me. But I have a system, and my wife's like, you need to share that system, because it could help somebody. And the way that my system is set up, it's just great, because you see how it works. Like, it's like an assembly line in my fridge. There is no guesswork, no nothing. Like, you just grab it and go. And, I have certain things that make me feel like I'm not on prep, and I'll go through that in the video. But yeah, I'm going to do a full prep video, and it's going to be pretty awesome, because it may or may not help somebody, but then somebody could take pieces of it and make it work individually for their routine. And so I'm excited about that. The other thing is posing. I do have a posing coach now, which is pretty cool. He knows his stuff, man. Like, this guy is on point. And I'll give you a little sneak peek. I'm gonna take you with me real quick. So check this out. So this is how hardcore it's gotten. But if you see here, this is my posing platform. It's out there. I put it in the direct sunlight. You see where the box is, because that's where you want to be, is in the middle. But yeah, we're gonna go over that. I'm also gonna go over basically how I made that. So I'm excited about the stuff that's coming. I'll be making these videos, putting them up. If they help people, they help people. If they don't, they don't. I get it. But I think this is gonna be pretty great to document this stuff, to kind of go through the whole process. I'm excited to say the least. I can't share any individual stuff that I have with me and my coach. I signed a non-disclosure, so we're not going to go into those details. I will say this. We have supplements that we've added or that are getting added. I'm excited about that. I could speak on those. We're going to be doing stuff like, I now have a script for glutathione through my doctor. And we're also going to be doing stuff like injectable L-carnitine. I'm taking, now NAC, taking NAC, taking TUDCA, and I'm still got the milk thistle in, but there's so many things. I don't know if they're going to help, but I'll be able to see it when I do my blood work for, my kidney and liver stuff. It'll show that stuff's improved. So I'm excited to see that. We started that already. Not the L-carnitine or the glutathione. That it's actually being shipped to me. So once I get that, that'll be started. I'm excited about it. I've talked to athletes, my coach's athletes. They swear by it. So I'm excited about that stuff. I heard glutathione works as a nootropic too. So anyone that's doing anything that causes issues in your mind and stuff like that, or mental stuff, it's supposed to help. It's an antioxidant. So I'm excited. My mother-in-law gets those injections. She's recovering from, or she's in remission for colon cancer, but she still does these treatments to I think it's remission. She no longer has colon cancer anymore, but she's still taking the treatments, and she's doing the IVs and stuff like that. Her stuff that she's doing is a lot more expensive, but mine's all through insurance, so it's not that bad. But yeah, I really have nothing else but that stuff. So we'll see what happens. I'll try to edit this video and get it up this week. I'll try to get another one in this week, but man, my schedule is so jam-packed. That's the only reason I haven't been pumping 2 a week. I'd like to get even more than that, but it's just, when you're on a strict schedule, time is of essence during the day, on the weekend. I feel like my weekends just fly by. But everybody be blessed. Hope, you guys like the update. Oh, other thing, I want to add real quick. My coach told me, he's like, stop sending me your weight every day. And I was like, oh. And so apparently he only wants to see it at check-in, and that's it. So we are back down to my low weight, which is 164, which is awesome. Pulled a couple things, made a couple tweaks. So, I like the way things are progressing. They're, I don't know if we're ahead of schedule, because, that kind of thing, my coach doesn't just volunteer, and I don't want to ask, but I'm just trusting the process, and we'll go from there. I have a feeling that good things are coming, and I want this to be the best prep yet. I mean, nobody goes into a prep saying, I hope it's worse, or I hope it's more, worse than the last one or the one before. I want it to be the best one, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, any questions, comments, let me know, and I hope everybody has a great week. We're starting this week off strong. Got most of my stuff done, waiting to go on this walk, and yeah, we're gonna do it. But you guys stay blessed, and I'll catch you guys either this week or next week. All right.